Cowboys owner Jerry Jones took a phone call from Adrian Peterson. That's the Vikings running back. You all know that. Back in June, on the call, Venata witnessed Jerry Jones and AP having a conversation that went something like this. AP asking if he could be a Cowboy, and Jerry responding with, quote, "Well, we'll see if we can make that happen." Peterson issued a statement, in short, basically saying it was a casual conversation between NFL colleagues, and he wants to retire as a Viking. All right, Shannon, what should the NFL do?
First, I want to explain something to Adrian Peterson. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, LaShawn McCoy are your colleagues. The guy that signs your check, his colleagues are Mr. Bob Kraft, the Maras, the Rooneys. A colleague is a peer, a guy that's equal to you. So it's not we're talking amongst colleagues. If I call Skip Bayless is a colleague of mine. The guy that signs Skip and I's check, he's not a colleague. The guy that signs the check at another network that have a show similar to ours, they're colleagues. Jerry Jones is brazen and really cavalier to take that call in front of a reporter. Because basically what he's saying is, I don't care. He knows he should not be having conversations of this magnitude with a player from another team that's under contract. He knows that. He admits, I didn't report it. I didn't tell the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't tell the National Football League. See, Jerry's problem is he's the problem. He hires a chef to cook, but then tells him what to cook and how to cook it. See,
meaning not the literal chef.
Nothing right. He hires a coach.
Because he might tell the literal chef how to cook.
He hires a head coach, then tells him who to hire on his staff, who to play, how to play, what they should be running.
There's some of that going on.
See, when he had Jimmy, see, when you win Super Bowl, Skip, everybody wants more credit than they deserve. The guy that cuts the grass on the field, he thinks I was the reason they won the Super Bowl. The janitorial service, the people that prepare the food, I played a big hand in that. Jerry Jones wanted a bigger stake because Jimmy was getting so much of the credit. He just can't let it go. And now, he's been doing it. I saw his business cards. Owner, general manager, CEO. And guess what? All those titles, he has nothing to show. Basically, since Jimmy left, Skip, it's not going to change.
They did win the next year, you remember.
Yeah, with Jimmy players. I could have coached that team to a Super Bowl.
Really?
Yes.
He could have done.
I disagree
you doubt
with that.
You doubt
that was a very difficult team to handle.
Okay, think about it.
Think of the egos you had in that locker room. Dion, Michael, Emmett, Troy, those are huge egos.
I talk to Michael Irvin all the time.
So do
I.
I
say the best thing, I am so happy Jerry fired Jimmy. I don't like to get into conjecture or speculation. But there's no question in my mind, if Jimmy Johnson is the coach of that football team,
I agree with that.
They win 4 or 5, maybe even because they were young and he trimmed the fat. They came to work. He drove them every single day. And then Jerry, on the way, we had a good restaurant going. We were cooking this, some little pot roast. We had little ribs and a couple of burgers. And then here comes Jimmy coming in. He wants to fry fish.
Okay.
And now my restaurant's gone downhill since.
So the topic is what should the
NFL should. The NFL should.
Shannon has now pushed all of my buttons.
I saw you sit biting your lip.
I must say publicly, I wrote a whole book about what you're talking about. And trust me on this, who was the key addition that helped the 1992 Dallas Cowboys win the first Super Bowl? They would not have won without Charles Haley. Thank you very much. Who engineered and drove home the trade for Charles Haley against Jimmy's best wishes? Jerry Jones. He initiated it with Carmen Policy, a rival within the conference, and pulled it off. And Jimmy was like, I can't coach that. I can't coach that guy because San Francisco couldn't coach that guy.
Right.
And, okay, so that's a whole other issue. So you got to give him a little bit of credit.
Little. But he wants more than he's deserving of.
Wait, back to the topic. What did you say the NFL should do?
They should fine him.
Okay.
The NFL should do nothing to Jerry Jones because this is one big much ado about nothing. Let us reconstruct here. This was a basic pie-in-the-sky, pipe dream, bizarre phone call from Adrian Peterson to someone in Jerry's luxury box before a George Strait concert at Jerry World, and a friend walks up while Don Vanatta is standing there, and the friend says, "Hey, Jerry, check this out." Hello? It's Adrian Peterson. Well, Jerry's kind of a prisoner at that point. Now, by the letter of the law, you're supposed to then hang up the phone and call the Vikings and said, you can't believe what just happened. Adrian Peterson just called me. Yeah. Jerry, ever the gracious host in his luxury box, tries to kind of get through a conversation with a guy he really admires, a kid who's not a kid, he's 29 years old now, but an Adrian Peterson from the state of Texas, who would love to finish his career with the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, Adrian Peterson has 4 years left on his Vikings contract at about $16 million a year. So he's so under contract that it's pipe dream to even talk about playing for the Cowboys, because at that point, if he lasts through that contract, they could cut him halfway through it, who knows. But how long is Adrian Peterson, a high collision back, going to last in this league? How realistic is it that he would soon join the Dallas Cowboys? Not realistic at all. It's impossible.
Was Emmitt Smith not to finish his career in the Cowboys uniform, or Joe Montana not to finish his career in a 49er uniform?
But Emmitt Smith was not a high collision back. He made you miss like no one I've ever seen. As Norv Turner used to say, he has the most incredible quickness in confined spaces. You couldn't get a hit on him. And God knows, the last 4 years of his career, he ran out of bounds. Adrian doesn't run out of bounds very often. So how much longer after he's played 7 years? Can he last 2 more, 3 more as Adrian Peterson? My point is, if they hold his feet to the fire in Minnesota for 4 more years, in year 5, we're going to what, 2018? Is it realistic he would finish his career as a Dallas Cowboy? Should that be tampering?
Well, maybe Minnesota Vikings can get some of those picks back with that foolish trade they made with Dallas with the Herschel Walker.
Okay, but that's not the point here. That was in 1989.
Let me ask you a question. Under the letter of the law, can an owner from a team have talks with a player under contract from another team?
By the letter of the law, no.
Okay, but sometimes he break the rules.
Okay, but sometimes you have to take into account mitigating circumstances. And the circumstances are so bizarre. Why would Adrian Peterson call a friend of his who just happened to be in Jerry's luxury box, and Jerry's handed the telephone? He's like, hello?
What?
That's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. So
you're going to fine him for that?
You want me to believe on one Thursday night, Adrian Peterson happens to pick up a phone, calls a guy that just so happens to be at a George Strait concert in Jerry Jones' box. Jerry Jones happens to be there. They say,
don't ask me, ask Adrian. I don't know.
They say too many coincidences aren't coincidences.
Yeah, exactly.
So are you suggesting Jerry initiated this long before?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm saying he broke the rules under the letter of the law.
Is Adrian Peterson about to be a free agent?
That's not the point.
4 years.
Skip.
It's ludicrous.
It doesn't matter whether or not he's going to be a free agent. You cannot have talks to a player on another team that's under contract. Did he break the ruls? Do you really believe that the NFL will fine him for this little episode? I do not. Van Natta said, Jerry said, we'll see what we can do.
Well, he's just being a nice guy, like trying to get him off the phone.
Man, come on, Skip.
Come on, Shannon.
Skip. Look, I love Jerry too. He sends me He sends me a Christmas card or a Christmas ornament every year.
See,
I love it.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy, but he was wrong in this instance.
Oh.
This is so innocent. He's a prisoner of a moment when he's just trying to say, hey, Adrian, what are you going to do? Get off the phone. How dare you call me? Is that what you want him to say to Adrian Peterson?
But listen, maybe they were joking. Maybe he was like, oh, we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Well, the commissioner's not going to be, he's not going to be joking when he hand out that fine.
Jerry won't mind. He's got a few dollars. He can handle it. We leave it there. I love Jerry. Johnny Manziel.
He's always good for a topic.
He is, isn't he? Johnny Manziel calls him Kitty Football.